Hello and welcome to the world of Neko Deco Pop. I'm Nat and we've got a lot to talk about because 2023 had a stupid amount of amazing anime. Some of which made me scream and cry so hard that it's a good thing I no longer live in an apartment complex. Trying to narrow down to a top 10 made me hella depressed, to be honest, because there are so many that I wanted to geek out with y'all over. But that being said, I stand behind my decision. And according to all of the scientific studies showcasing that my top 10 lists are scientifically accurate as to the best anime, you should too. So without further ado, and before you can read the full disclaimer, let's get into it. Number 10, Scott Pilgrim. I was really nervous but super excited about this anime since Scott Pilgrim, the live action movie, is literally one of my favorite movies of all time. Once I found out that my favorite studio, Science Saru, was animating it, I got a lot more excited about it. I thought it was just going to be an anime rehashing of the live action storyline, and for the first episode, it mostly does that. But then it takes a turn I was not expecting. The new storyline is completely original, even diverging from the graphic novel. But it's done in such a way that it really made this anime stand on its own and become a truly magical addition to the Scott Pilgrim universe. Plus, it brought me so much joy to see just how much fun the cast and animation staff had with this puppy. Everyone absolutely brought their all, and it shows. Now, if there's anyone out there that's trying to argue that this is an anime, you're probably not gonna like this best of list, because there's more in store that's probably gonna piss you off. For everyone who isn't a basement-dwelling gatekeeper, how did y'all feel about this show, especially with the direction it ended up taking? I'd love to hear your non-gatekeeping takes on it. Number 9, Link Click Season 2. The wait between Season 1 and 2 nearly killed me over these past few years, since Season 1 ends on a truly horrific cliffhanger that had me screaming. I am happy to report that Link Click Season 2 absolutely delivered, and in a way that really set it apart from the first season. Season 1 was much more of an anthology-type series with a connecting factor that came together by the end, while Season 2 was much more focused on storylines that actively fed into each other. There were a lot of redirects that I was not expecting. This show continues to one-up itself throughout the season to the point where it goes off in a completely different direction. The way that it connected everything together by the end was absolutely spectacular to watch. This season's emotional moments also really hit. Some with absolutely devastating blows that 100% triggered a depression spell. Although they were able to tie up loose ends by the end of the season, they did a really good job at setting everything up for Season 3. That final episode though, woof. Your girl was screaming, crying, throwing up, and scheduling extra therapy sessions. It was so good, but I was also very tired afterwards because that shit took a toll on me. I absolutely love the direction this show is going in, and I hope to see many more dongwa getting more and more mainstream attention. Because it's high time for Japanese anime to start actually sharing the spotlight instead of just gatekeeping it. Number 8, Zom 100. Zom 100 is the most original zombie concept I've ever seen. Definitely the funniest since Shaun of the Dead, and just breathtakingly beautiful. Literally, the blood is multicolored and absolutely bursting with life, unlike the zombies. What really sets Zom 100 apart from its counterparts is that when the zombie apocalypse happens to our main character, he isn't devastated. He's not scared, in fact, he's absolutely thrilled. Because he works at an exploitation company where his very soul has been destroyed. He works 24/7, he hates his life, he never has days off, and then a zombie apocalypse happens and relieves him of all of that. He decides to just say, "F it and do everything that he's ever wanted to do. Cause yeah, why the f not? This anime is just so joyful and full of life. It's absolutely hilarious, but when it gets serious, when it shows the lives being absolutely brutally ripped away from people, when you see the devastating effect that overworking and abuse of power takes on people, that shit gets to you. But it's always able to bounce back, and by the end, you actually feel good and hopeful, which is something I never thought I'd say about a zombie series. The last 3 episodes were hella delayed, but it came out on Christmas, and I gotta say, best Christmas present ever. Number 7, Hell's Paradise. Okay, this next one is embarrassing on my end. I watched the first 4 episodes of Hell's Paradise and hated it. So I dropped the anime and only begrudgingly picked it up to finish my spring season anime review. I was only gonna watch maybe 2 episodes that day, and I watched 9. I could not stop myself. It got good. And by good, I mean so good that I had to take a hard look at myself and admit that I was horribly wrong. The development, lore, and world building over the course of the season were spectacular. I have never been proven so wrong about an anime, and I will take that ego hit and admit I was horribly wrong. My best piece of advice is to just go into this one blind and give it a minute. It does start kind of slow. But everything that's revealed by the end had me scaring my cats because I was screaming at my TV so much. I am desperately, and I mean desperately, waiting for season 2. But also, this is a MAPPA production, so I'm fine with waiting. Maybe y'all can, I don't know, take care of your animators and stop trying to catch up to Kyoto Studio while having a fraction of the staff? The anime industry is honestly going to crack sometime in the next few years, and if things don't radically change, it's going to be really, really ugly. Power to the animators, give them a union, and treat them with some goddamn respect. Number 6, Frieren Beyond Journey's End. Frieren has done something that I did not think was possible during this stage of my life. It's made me fall back in love with fantasy. I grew up in the church of Tolkien, where Lord of the Rings was a family heirloom. But when I got back into anime a few years ago, I think isekai just kind of ruined fantasy for me. Moving forward, especially with anime, I just had no interest. So when my brother put on the first episode of Frieren, I was very hesitant. But y'all, this anime is the new gold standard of fantasy. It is so obscenely good. It starts off so humble and quiet and grows into something absolutely spectacular. The way that it's paced and how it focuses on the smaller day-to-day tasks of being an adventure would have made Tolkien proud. It's just such a beautiful show, both story and animation-wise, with an outro that makes me stop whatever I'm doing to watch in awe. Frieren isn't over yet. It still has another 10-ish episodes, but it's so good that I don't even care that I haven't seen the end. It's in my top 10. I am so happy that I get to spend more time with these characters, and I'm going to be genuinely sad when the season finally comes to a close. Number 5, Castlevania Nocturne. If there are any gatekeepers still here after my Scott Pilgrim praise, get ready to get angry all over again. Castlevania Nocturne absolutely floored me. I thought Castlevania was done after the original series, so when I heard about this sequel, I was so excited. And honestly, it absolutely stands on its own. We kick off nearly 300 years after the events from the original series and enter right in the midst of the French Revolution. All of the characters that we loved from the original series are gone, and we're introduced to the heir and last descendant of the great house of Belmont. The way that Nocturne was able to tie in historical elements of the French Revolution while also kicking off its own events was wild and added so much. This is also another anime that had me screaming and crying during the last episode. My cats are so over me at this point. I'm not gonna say any more about the plot because I went into this one blind and it was the greatest choice I could have made. Cause that ending, oh my sweet Jesus. If you watched the original series, how did you feel about this new edition? And where does it rank against the original? Here's where I put it. Number 4, Tengoku Daimakyo. Tengoku Daimakyo, or Heavenly Delusion, came out of nowhere and absolutely bodied me. The different elements that are unveiled throughout the series were done so well that piecing everything together at the end was one of the most satisfying experiences I've had all year. Story-wise, we got to explore 2 parallel storylines progressing in tandem. One of them follows 2 young adults traversing across a post-apocalyptic Japan decades after the cryptic Great Disaster events. The residual dangers from the disaster have allowed horrific monsters through with truly sickening methods of killing humans with, leading to some of the most disturbing body horror I've ever seen. The other story follows a super high-tech school for kids who are cut off from the rest of the world to protect them from everything that's happened. These kids have endless advantages and opportunities, but there's something much darker lurking in the shadows. Tengoku Daimakyo slowly drops connecting factors between the 2 storylines, but doesn't actually reveal their true connection until the final few minutes of the show. And y'all, all of my theories and predictions were completely off. Their connection is so spectacular that it left me speechless. It also made me extremely upset that we're gonna have to wait for the next season because I need to know. This show is so good. Number 3, Magical Destroyers. Magical Destroyers is the coked up daughter of FLCL and Kill la Kill. It is batshit and has one of the best/dumbest concepts I've ever seen. In this alternate timeline, Japan decides to deal with their declining birth rate by banning everything otaku. And not only banning gaming, anime, and maid cafes, but everything. They also arrest, aka protect, every otaku. A group of radicalized otaku start fighting back, and we start the series off 3 years into the struggle. The otakus are led by their leader, Otaku Hero, because of course that's his name. They've retaken the war-torn Akihabara that Japan bombed the fuck out of. Otaku Hero decides to get the full band back together and reunites his magical girl trio. Yes, they have literal magical girls to fight back against the regime. It's just a really dumb anime, and I say that with the most love. This is an anime for anime lovers by anime lovers, and it's just so dumb. It would have gotten a 10 out of 10 from me, but there's a very unfortunate scene in episode 4 that made me very upset, and also dropped it down this list. I first got on board with Magical Destroyers when my brother showed me the opening, which is my favorite opening of the year, hands down, and makes you realize that, yeah, they did a lot of drugs when they came up with this. My love for Magical Destroyers grew even more when I went to Anime Expo in July and got to meet the creator of the anime. He was so sweet and nice and wonderful, and he drew me some original art, and I was fangirling so hard. So yeah, watch this Anime, it's everything you never knew you needed and more. Number 2. Undead Murder Farce. Undead Murder Farce is everything that Sherlock wishes it was, except she does it 20 times better just through her characters, which include a 900-year-old sassy immortal head, her murderous maid, and my favorite himbo of the year. I was not expecting to like this anime as much as I did, but it ended up getting the highest score I gave to any anime this year. It's able to get very serious and heartbreaking, and then reward you with the endless comedic hijinks that ensue from our very strange trio, who are just perfect together. The story follows our favorite immortal head, who has been detached from her body by the same madman who merged our himbo with an Oni demon. The two of them, alongside the immortal's loyal maid/guard, travel from Japan to Europe to try to track him down, and end up garnering a reputation as monster detectives. They explore a plethora of cases which are interwoven with the madman storyline, lining everything up beautifully by the end. I honestly had so much fun with this anime, and it was even complete with the most K-pop sounding opening I've ever heard in an anime. After looking it up, I found out that yes, the opening was performed by the K-pop group Classy. By the time you finish Undead Murder Farce, it is very easy to see why it is my highest rated anime of 2023. Honorary mentions. Spy X Family Season 2. Do I need to say anything? Cause it's Spy X Family. We all know that it's a masterpiece. And this season continued that trend with episodes that helped restore some of that serotonin, and just had the most wholesome/terrifying interactions. I loved seeing certain scenes animated and just had the most fun this season. Being the crazy stacked year that it's been, it just barely didn't make the top 10, which definitely hurt my heart. Cause yeah, we all get it at this point. Buddy Daddies. If you're a fan of Spy X Family but always wanted it to go harder, Buddy Daddies does exactly that. The story follows two assassins who work on jobs together and share the same apartment. Through hijinks, they end up looking after the daughter of one of their deceased targets, and chaos ensues. It ranges from slice-of-life family shenanigans to hardcore drama, to pretty brutal action scenes where people are just getting bodied left and right. There's not a lot of anime that are able to say everything that they want to without leaving you feel disappointed by the end. Buddy Daddies is that exception, and was only barely beaten out of the top 10. Skip and Loafer. Skip and Loafer is the epitome of slice-of-life anime done right. The pacing is top-notch, the storytelling actually goes places, and the character development makes you want to root for them. The two characters meet on their first day of school. Mitsumi is in full existential meltdown mode, and Shima runs into her and helps motivate her to get to school. From there, their friendship blooms into something beautiful, and maybe a little something more. Skip and Loafer has a surprising amount of substance and even explores LGBT+ elements that are revealed later on. Definitely the best anime on this list to watch after a hard day when you just need a pick-me-up. Before I reveal my favorite anime of the year, let me roll through the anime y'all are gonna yell at me for excluding from this list. Oshinoko. I was so on board to love this anime cause Kaguya-sama, but I'm sorry, none of the episodes were as good as that first episode. I could not stand Aqua and Ruby. They are one-note characters whose development was not really a thing this season. Episode 6 was also super f***ed, especially cause they didn't put a trigger warning. I had to turn it off because I got triggered. And I'm talking about the actual medical definition. It triggered my SI trauma and I immediately started crying and dissociating. I'm sure this anime will get better, but it just didn't do it for me. Jujutsu Kaisen. Just watch my summer anime review. I dropped this anime completely because you fuckers on anime Twitter couldn't keep your half-ass spoilers to yourself. I was, and still am, so angry and heartbroken. So I dropped the anime and the manga. Y'all can try to come for me, but I'm done with this series. Which is saying a lot because this used to be one of my all-time favorites. Now, I watched clips of this season and all I really needed to see was that Nanami hair pulling scene. I'm good on everything else. I don't need to watch the Shibuya arc be animated. I don't hate myself. Attack on Titan. I still have very conflicting feelings on the finale, especially that final part. So I couldn't put this in my top 10 even though it was good. I will have my full review, on my fall anime review video, which will be out next Friday. And now for number 1 and my favorite anime of 2023. Pluto. Pluto is a future classic, plain and simple. This anime encapsulates the greatest aspects of the genre, and through the absolutely genius storytelling by Naoki Urasawa, it created something groundbreaking. This is no surprise though, since Urasawa's most famous work is Monster, which is widely considered to be the greatest psychological thriller anime of all time. The sheer amount of ground that Pluto is able to cover in its 8 hours is astounding and left me breathless. Urasawa's reworked one of the most famous anime and manga of all time, Astro Boy, turning the original on its head and exploring the famous characters in a way that only he can do. The story follows a robot detective as he tries to unmask the serial killer who has been taking out the world's most powerful robots. This journey kicks off a moral, existential reckoning in him and everyone around him, where they must re-examine the limits to AI, the horrific utilization of robots to fight wars, and the lengths we go to mask our own devastating truths. Pluto's one of those I would recommend watching one episode at a time. There is so much information divulged and some massive questions being raised that it's only right to give it the time and space to fully sit with each spectacular episode. I have been waiting all year for this anime to be released, and as soon as I started it, I knew that this would likely become my favorite anime of the year. And as you can see, my gut was right. Do yourself a favor and immerse yourself in one of the best anime of our generation. To wrap things up, I was skeptical about this year's anime after last year because 2022, oh my god, that anime hit harder than Sailor Moon bodying Goku. I mean, we had Chainsaw Man, Akiba Maid War, Bocchi the Rock, like come on. But this year 100% lived up to the hype. Were there some truly horrible anime? Of course, but what is the anime community without trash, both the good and bad kind? Am I still devastated and heartbroken that Uzumaki was delayed and didn't come out this year either? Yes, I will continue to be devastated until it comes out. But overall, this year's selections were absolutely incredible. Out of my top 10, I think I'm the most surprised by Hell's Paradise, because I hated it so much in the beginning. I was surprised at Oshinoko for letting me down. And I was horribly surprised by every single Jujutsu Kaisen fan who shared that spoiler, leading me to rage quit the series. But it's also good to know that I can 100% trust my gut after seeing what a masterpiece Pluto became. And it was a wonderful homecoming to embrace Frieren and fantasy again. If y'all were wondering what my least favorite anime of the year was, it's Tenparu. I am never doing another harem for y'all. What were your top 10 of the year? What surprised you the most? And what was your least favorite anime? Let me know in the comments below. Overall, this is the first year that I've really dived into making anime content, which has allowed me to launch the Neko Pop brand and begin this new chapter in my life. I am so grateful to everyone who has joined me on this journey, and I cannot wait to show you what I have in store for us next year. Thank you all so much for sticking around if you've made it this far. I hope you survived the holidays okay. Make sure to drink plenty of water tonight, and I'll see all of y'all on the next one.